What, you mean like now? Foot switch is too far away. Okay.
O&M motorcycle clear.
Who is that? All right. Is it time to kick this thing into gear?
I think so.
All right. Well, this is WQIR 514, Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
We're going to start with some early bird check-ins. So I think we're just going to go ahead and jump right into Zello check-ins. Anyone that would wish to check into tonight's net using the VoIP service we often refer to as Zello, please call Net Control now.
This is WRYR 434, Atlanta 590, Bradley and Jasper. Is 780 WQUV 439, Houston, Austell. Take me in and out, please.
RXM 922, Gainesville 58, checking in and out.
Rome 36, WRXK 582, checking in and out. WRXT 576, Atlanta 610, David and Marietta, checking in, checking out.
All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We have Atlanta 590, Bradley and Jasper is in with us tonight. Atlanta 780, Houston in Austell is in and out. Gainesville 58, Jonathan in Oakwood is in and out. Rome 36, Jeff in Silver Creek is in and out, as well as Atlanta 610, David in Marietta in and out. Those are the Zello check-ins we have at this time. We're going to take one more pause, an uncomfortably long pause, looking for Zello check-ins. Zello check-ins only, please.
WQQD 705, Chris from Panuca, Illinois, checking in and out.
I missed it.
I think that might be Atlanta 32.
The dead queue right now is Atlanta 214.
Let's try that.
Nobody answered me when I asked, so.
All right. Net control acknowledging Chris from Illinois. Paducah, Illinois. Did you say it was Atlanta 216 on Zello?
No, the hot mic was Atlanta 214, but Chris did not provide a TAC number. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, if it's who I think it is, Chris is a former member that probably still has an active Zello account. So I believe that used to be Atlanta 23 or 32 or something like that. But then he had to move away to Illinois. So Chris, is that correct? Give us your old TAC number if you have one.
Net control, Atlanta 60. Net control, Atlanta 60. Net control.
Hey Gary, go ahead.
I can mess if I want to. Sorry, coming.
Try Gary again.
All right, stand in net control standing by for Gary, Atlanta 60. Go ahead.
Net control, I think we've got some issues going on with Zello. I'm going to go ahead and prohibit Atlanta 214 from connecting in. He seems to be connecting in on top of you, and it's interfering with your transmissions as well. So let me clear that up, and hopefully we'll be able to hear you guys okay. You were partially being overridden by your audio.
Yeah, I believe he must have stuck the phone in his pocket with Zello still active and the PTT is being randomly engaged with the phone in his pocket. There's all kinds of random noise there and background noise. So, yeah, if we can disable that particular user, and we've got him in a log as Atlanta 214, and so he's in here, but we'll go ahead and disable that for now. Thank you.
Atlanta 60 clear, WQYU 407.
That doesn't seem right. Let's leave it in there, though.
That's off the Zello log. That is the way it is.
Oh, so that's maybe it wasn't Chris.
Chris is in there too. I'm looking at the log.
Okay. Does Chris have a TAC number or no?
No.
Okay.
And then I think we got stepped on, or he got stepped on. There was Atlanta 910 trying to do a check-in with Zello.
All right, let's see if we can get Atlanta 910. We see there's activity in Zello, but we did not hear that user. Atlanta 910, why don't you try to check in?
May have been another butt dial too.
All right, negative contact with Atlanta 910. At this time, we're going to go ahead and continue on with check-ins from any repeater other than Flagship. Anyone wishing to check in to tonight's net using any repeater except for Flagship, call net control now. Flagship users, please hold your traffic.
This is WRQD 424, Chattanooga 60. Check me in and check me out. This is WRMW 299, Dallas 37, David and Bowden Junction, checking in and out. This is. This is Rome 58, WRXZ 802, Chad in Rome. Please check me in and out tonight, guys.
This is WRUZ 979, Chat 97, checking in and out. Thank you.
Is that chat 37?
This is
Sounded like Aaron, which would be chat
WRVE 372, Chat 160, Chickamauga. Check me in.
This is WRC 853, Atlanta 631, checking in.
Is Cove 29er, WRQG 433, Carl up in Knoxville, checking in and out.
This is WRYU 740, Chat 195, checking in. Good evening. This is CW40, WRNX 752, checking in and out. This is WRWP 214, case code 41, checking in. Hope I'm not out of line. This is WRWP 214, trying to correct my tag number. This is case code 41, not Chattanooga 41. Thank you. Sorry.
The Chris station from Indiana, or was it Indiana?
Chris Nepper, yeah, he's Illinois actually, but yeah.
Yeah, he's in the live stream chat.
Oh, cool. Very nice. All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We have, let me just go ahead and confirm Chris from Illinois. We've got you in here. Also, we have Atlanta 214 Tyler incoming. Those were part of our Zello check-ins, as well as Atlanta 910. We think we have Jay in here, but we might, that could be an error. We're going to log him anyway. Chattanooga 60, Jason in Hickson is in and out with us tonight. Dallas 37, David in Bowdoin Junction is in and out tonight. Rome 58, Chad in Rome is in and out tonight. Chattanooga 97, Aaron in Cleveland is in and out. Chattanooga 160, David in Chicktown is in tonight. And welcome back. It's great to hear you on the air. Atlanta 631, Shad in Emerson in tonight. Cades Cove 29, Carl in Knoxville is in and out. Chattanooga 195, Frank in Chattanooga is in tonight. CW 40, Robert in Nicholson is in and out. And I have Cades Cove 41, Tim in Knoxville is in tonight. Those are the check-ins I have at this time. At this time, we're going to continue taking check-ins, and we're going to take check-ins from any repeater, anywhere, including the flagship machine. So, one at a time, please.
Seven 62.
Gainesville 44, Joe in Cleveland, Georgia. Checking in and out.
This is WRWK895, Atlanta 259. Dana from Dahlonega. I'll be in and out, guys, but I'll be listening through the whole thing.
This is Atlanta 236, WRWM 256. I'll be Chuck in Dawsonville. I'll be checking in and out. I'll be listening. You guys are looking good.
WRBT 591, Blue Ridge 549, Mike in Cherry Log, checking in for the second time.
This is WRX 755, gauge code 80, checking in, checking out, but we'll be monitoring.
This is WRXP 337, Moreland 10, John in Grantville, Georgia. Please check me in and out.
This is
Checking in.
I think I heard a 345 in that, but I don't know what region.
This is
No, that's not right.
This is WRXV 688, Atlanta 454, Steve in Lilburn, Georgia. Check me in and check me out.
That was,
This is
Chad, the broken up one through Luo.
Atlanta 551, WRYI 478, Shannon in Dawsonville, Georgia. You can check me in and check me out.
I recognized the voice, but I couldn't hear the audio.
This is WRPM 600, ATL 75, Harry in Marietta, checking in and out.
75, no 0.
This is WRMT 979, Atlanta 825, Don in Canton, checking in and out.
What was that? 82.
825, I think. Yeah.
And he was in and out?
Yeah.
This is WRCT 399, Atlanta 261, Scott from Woodstock. If you don't mind, gentlemen, check me in and check me out. Although I'm checking you out live streaming, you look beautiful.
I don't know about all that. I think he's lying there.
Yeah, it seems to me there was a lack of hair and makeup in the budget.
Did he remember to turn the TV on?
Right. All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We have Gainesville 44, Joe in Cleveland is in and out. I have Atlanta 259, the radio marshal in Dahlonega is in and out. I have Atlanta 236, Chuck in Dawsonville, in and out. That brings me to BR 549. Uncle Mike from up around Cherry Log is in with us tonight. I understand it took you 2 tries to get in. I'm not sure why.
I think that was with the Zello congestion.
Oh, well, there was some congestion on Zello, that's for sure. But we're glad we got you on an RF check-in. Also, I got a big round of in and outs here. In fact, the rest of these are in and out. I have Cades Cove 80, Rocky from Rockwood, Tennessee is in and out. I have Moreland 10, John in Grantville is in and out. I have CW43 Chad in Bowersville with a very broken up signal, but we've got you in here and we've got you in and out. I have Atlanta 454 Stephen in Lilburn in and out. I have Atlanta 551. Shannon in Dawsonville is in and out. I have Atlanta 75. Harry in Marietta in and out. Atlanta 825. Don in Canton in and out. And we have Atlanta 261. Scott in Holly Springs in and out. Those are the check-ins we have at this time. Did I miss any?
I don't think so.
All right, we're going to take one quick
There were
round.
some doubles in there, but we may have missed somebody in the double.
All right, so if we didn't call your name, you're not in the log. And we'd like for you to be in the log. We're going to take one more quick round of check-ins before we take our break. Net control standing by. Check-ins from any repeater, anywhere.
This is WRAT 241, Atlanta 403. Bobby in Cleveland, Georgia, at the Vortex. In and out, please.
This is WRXR 379, Atlanta 910, Jay in Calhoun. Check me in and out.
Got him already.
Yeah, that was the Zello mess.
All right.
This is WRTI 560, Don in Kennesaw, Atlanta 589.
Let's call on. Always a good story with Don.
Good evening, Net Control. This is Atlanta 532, WRNW 488, Tom in Flowery Branch, checking in and checking out. And hey, the live stream looks great, guys.
All right. Well, the live stream looks great. I wonder what live stream they're watching.
Look at your face right now. Your phone's complaining about the battery dying.
Oh. Huh.
This is Atlanta 1402, WRKN 464. Todd in Sugar City. David, Justin, Jeff, you guys are sounding great. I've been out doing some yard work. Check me in and out. Making Justin's Space Pizza. I'll be monitoring a little bit later.
I don't know. Justin's Face Pizza doesn't sound very appetizing. All right, we're going to go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins, and then we'll be taking our little break here. So I have Atlanta 403, Bobby in Cleveland is in and out. I have Atlanta 589, Don in Kennesaw is in with us this evening. We're looking forward to a Don story tonight, so that could be good. Also, I have Atlanta 532, Tom in Flowery Branch in and out. In Atlanta 1402, enjoying some pizza. I know that you can take a photograph to Publix and have that like put on a cake, but Justin's Face Pizza, I don't know.
I didn't know they could do that with pizza.
Yeah, that doesn't A, it doesn't sound very appetizing, and B, I've never seen that before. Todd, you're gonna have to take some pictures. I'd like to see my face on your pizza. So, good stuff. All right, we're going to take a little break at this time. So let's go ahead and sign off. This is WQIR 514, Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
And we are clear. We'll be back in just a few minutes to start the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net.
Is somebody screwing with
That's coming in on Lula. I don't think so. I think it's just noise.
So are we going to listen to Kate's announcements first?
Don't give it away.
Are we on the air?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you need
Is
this?
it time to go on the air?
Yeah.
All right. Are you waiting for me?
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta be less like nachos and more like tacos.
This is Atlanta 420 WRFS 771 on Zello. Are you taking check-ins presently, and is the network connected to Zello? Over.
Was that William?
Yeah.
420, they're on their break right now, and they will be back in a short while, and they will take check-ins from that point, I believe.
Good evening, and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard and linked in with the following repeaters.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Fort Mountain, Cades Cove, Chattanooga, Lookout, White Oak, Georgetown, Ottawa, Flagship, Noonan, Lula, Jersey, McDonough, Watkinsville, Rome, Columbus, Zebulon, Dallas, Ocala, and of course our VoIP service, Zello. It's your turn now.
Yeah. I'm just looking to try to figure out what is the next part of the. Tonight our RF coverage encompasses approximately 26,240,000 acres. Acres. This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I'd like to thank everyone, that would be all of you, who has made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
And WQIR 514, Atlanta 947. My name is Julie.
All right, and for those of you watching, you'll have to make sure we get to our 1,000 likes and subscribes so that we can start
hitting the big time.
We can afford another microphone for Julie. This net takes place every Thursday evening. I already read that part. On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear about. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. Says I'm supposed to announce a topic. Have we settled on a topic?
I thought you said we were going to do mobile installs.
Well, you do a lot of mobile installs, so I guess yeah, you would be our
oh boy, you're relying on me to be the resident expert?
Yeah, so
that's a scary thought.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to talk about mobile radio installs this week, and it's kind of a last-minute thing. We've been very busy with a number of tasks, and so we're just behind the 8 ball. But we'll get things caught up, and we're going to have a good time with the net tonight anyway. So at this time, will you stall for just a moment while I move the microphone?
Yeah, we can do that, but don't we have some announcements first?
Oh, we do?
We do have announcements.
You know, this would be a great net if it just had some condiments.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so stick around for Catch Up with Kate.
Yes, Catch Up with Kate. Kate, what do you have for us?
This is Atlanta 751, WRMR 367, Kate in Waleska. It's time for Catch Up with Kate, your weekly net announcements. We are happy to announce that as of Monday, Lookout Mountain's internet issue has finally been resolved with the help of a brand new modem. Mark your calendars and set your reminders for Chattanooga Hamfest. This year's festivities will take place on October 20th and 21st in beautiful East Ridge, Tennessee. While you're jotting that down, be sure to skip ahead to November and mark off the 4th and 5th for Stone Mountain Hamfest in Lawrenceville at the Gwinnett County Fairgrounds. Have you heard about our latest endeavor? No, I'm not talking about Studio Vanguard. I'm talking about the launching of our net live stream. Yes, watch the net in real time by watching us on our YouTube channel. So check out North Georgia GMRS Network, like us and subscribe to our channel. We apologize in advance for not having hair and makeup, but hey, we're all just volunteers here, so we apologize in advance. I hope to see many of you at the upcoming events. This is WRMR 367, Atlanta 751. My name is Kate. Now, Julie, what do you have this week for new user tips and procedures?
This week on the new user tips and operating procedures.
Oh, you're on the Sony, that's why. Go ahead.
So I was good. All
You're
right.
good, it's my fault.
Okay, of course it's Jeff's fault.
Put a little bump in the road, that's okay.
Always.
Yeah.
That's what makes it exciting. Anyway, as I was saying, Kate and everybody else out there, this week on the new user tips and operating procedures, we will talk about conducting proper radio testing. We are often engaged in making improvements to our stations. Changing to antennas, microphones, or even radios can sometimes make an unexpected improvement into an actual downgrade. A quick test can reveal the changes in your system's performance. The network is not your test bench. Excessive radio checks are tiresome to listen to. Please limit network radio checks to no more than 1 per day. Meanwhile, testing your radio can be done at will off of the network. Power readings can be taken using a dummy load. Basic operation can be tested using simplex frequencies, and antenna performances can be tested using an antenna analyzer. Audio quality can be done with a second user on a nearby mobile or HT. Even during excessive network testing and balancing audio levels, our technicians and engineers endeavor to make quick work and have shown huge progress in making system-wide adjustments without day after day of continued radio checks. Always be considerate operator on the network and make sure your traffic is interesting not only to yourself, but to others as well. Let me break. Good quality tools are nice to have, but can be expensive to acquire. However, there are some inexpensive tools that perform well enough for the most casual users. The Nano V&A can provide detailed information about your antenna system, including the coax used, and that tool is often available for well under $100. The SureCom SW102 costs around $60 to $70 and will read forward power and SWR. These tools can give you confidence that when you go on the air, your system will perform well. Recently, users on the network engaged in a simplex operation on several Friday evenings designed to locate GMRS users nearby. By seeking users near enough to engage in simplex comms, you can enhance your shit hits the fan resources, and you can get to know your RF neighbors, helping each other with the tools we have and the experience we gain from users. I'm so sorry. That kind of slipped. I guess I owe the
swear jar $1?
Yeah, you owe $1.
I'm pretty sure the script says stuff hits the fan.
It does. Whoops. So sorry, guys. Little ears, little ears. That's a big no-no for all of you listeners out there, so forgive me.
You're
Anyway.
Suspended from the network for a week.
Oh my gosh. Okay, get it together, people. All right. Helping each other with the tools we have and the experience we gain from using them is a part of what makes this the best GMRS network in the country. Sometimes a simple radio check is essential to determine if a change you made to your system is an improvement or a disappointment. Sometimes simple comms are just not an option. Radio checks are not being prohibited, but any traffic you bring to the network should be generally interesting. And remember, when someone calls out monitoring, that's an invitation to a conversation. Engage that user, and hopefully you'll have a more interesting conversation than the frequent radio checks heard on the system lately.
Let's break.
Oh.
You're back.
All right, don't forget, our Facebook page is a great place to ask common questions. You can also ask questions during the open floor portion of the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. These are just a few user tips and operating procedures. I hope you'll tune in next week for my next episode of Julie's Tips and Operating Procedures. Who knows what'll slip out of my mouth? If you have any questions or suggestions for new user tips and operating procedures, send me a note at julie@NGGMRS.org. Maybe you can suggest how I can clean up my mouth. We are North Georgia GMRS Network, and this is WQIR 514, Atlanta 947. My name is Julie, and I'm clear. Good night, everyone.
Are you clear? Because you're going to go get a bar of soap for your mouth?
Yeah,
That was a text message I just got from... So maybe you need to do that. We're going to go ahead and check you in and out so you can go get a fresh bar of soap.
We're going to take that microphone away from you now. And, yeah, you know, we're going to blame it on the writer's strike because, you know, we don't have any professional writers to write our scripts, and because of the writer's strike.
Something like that.
Something like that. So
did Doogie write that script?
He may have. He may have. I'm pretty sure when I read the script, I saw the word stuff in front of hits the fan. But, you know, there's so many fans, and there's so much stuff. Who knows what it...
You never know what's going to happen.
That's the beauty of live production. So here we are. All right, then. So those were our announcements. We had catch up with Kate, and we had Julie's tips. And now we're going to go to the... No, we got to take check-ins, don't we?
If it wasn't going to get us in trouble on the air, we might have to rename that segment to Julie's something else.
Julie's stuff? Well, let's take a break and reset. All right. Well, it's time to kick this thing off. But before we go to the roster, let's see if we have any additional check-ins. We had a pretty good round of check-ins prior, but there's always a few more to grab. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll start off with Zello check-ins. We had a little difficulty with Zello before, but hopefully that noise is cleared up. Is Zello back in?
It looks like it.
It looks like it is. So let's see if we can get any Zello check-ins. Zello users only, please. Net control standing by.
This is and a 420 WRFS 771. William in Roswell checking in on Zello and watching the live stream, and enjoyed catching Julie's
stuff.
I guess you could say
Julie's stuff.
Her poop giggles stuff there. Over.
This is WRWM 344, Blue Ridge 63. Mike in Blue Ridge checking in on Zello. Staying in with you tonight.
557, WRQ. WRQ G806, Atlanta 557, please check me in and out. Ed in Kennesaw.
This is Kilo WRQ W534, Chattanooga 33, in and out. Coming in on the 700 repeater.
Penny, you're being evicted. Oh, you're going for a walk. Make sure you bring soap.
All right, Net Control's going to acknowledge Atlanta 420 William in Roswell is in with us this evening, as well as Blue Ridge 63 Mike in Blue Ridge, also in. Also, we heard Atlanta 557, 557, 55, echo, 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 echo. Ed in Kennesaw, we've got you in and out tonight, and Chattanooga 33 Charles in Chattanooga, in and out. Left a nice long pause in there for any Zello push-to-talk lockouts that sometimes happen, but hopefully we've got all of our Zello check-ins at this time. So we're going to continue taking check-ins. Anyone using Zello and or anyone from any repeater other than Flagship, please call Net Control now.
This is WRXW 597, Blue Ridge 70, Bill, and I'm located in Cleveland, Georgia presently.
Blue Ridge 70.
This is WRER 451. Yeah, I forget who I am. WRER 451, Gainesville 417, William in Auburn, Georgia. Check me in and out.
Sky 755, Case Cove 83, Bill in Rockford, Tennessee. Checking in and out.
Was she in and out?
Yes. Yes. All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We have Atlanta. We already had Atlanta 420. So let's see. We must have in chat 33. So we have Blue Ridge 70 William in Cleveland tonight. We've got you in. We have Gainesville 417 William in Auburn, in and out. Of Cades Cove 83 Bill in Rockwood is in and out. And we have Cades Cove 81 Candace in Rockwood is in and out. Those are the check-ins we have at this time. Let's go ahead and continue with check-ins from any repeater anywhere, including the mighty Flagship repeater.
This is WRUF 788, Dallas 49er, Doug in Hiram. and I'll be in and out and monitoring.
Flagship user, but all I heard in there was a 0.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge Dallas 49. Doug and Hiram is in and out. And then there was a flagship user. The signal was fully unreadable. We heard a 0. We were able to pull that out, but that's the only thing that we heard. So the fact that we can hear a voice in there suggests that we might be able to catch your check-in if you can get nice and loud into that microphone. Try to modulate through the noise, and if you'll try that check-in again, we'll try to listen real hard and see if we can pull the signal out of that. Net control standing by.
Is WRXX740 Atlanta 609 Randall and Aqua, in and out.
Outstanding. We have WRXX740 Atlanta 609 Randall in Ackworth, in and out. Oh, you got through the noise, so great job, and we've got you in the log. Any additional check-ins? Net control standing by.
Gainesville 22, RJK25, Neil from Sugar Hill, in and out.
This is WRKT 728, Dallas 20. David in southwest Paulding County, checking in, and by way of relay, Dallas 21, Lisa in southwest Paulding County. She is in and out.
Wow, 52. 52 before 8. That's quite a few.
Yeah, it is. All right, so I think that's a good place to start. I didn't realize we had that many. That's pretty impressive, actually. All right, Net Control is going to acknowledge this last round of check-ins. We had Gainesville 22, Neil, and Sugar Hill is in and out. At Dallas 20, David in southwest Paulding County is in with us this evening. And we have Dallas 21, Lisa, also in southwest Paulding County, in and out. Those are the check-ins we have at this time. We're going to go ahead and kick things into gear. If you wanted to get checked in and didn't get a chance, we'll take additional check-ins when we get closer to the end of the program. So stick around. And we don't want to leave anyone behind. We're hoping to catch everyone tonight on the net. So with that, tonight's topic is mobile installs. So, and that comes to mind because I've seen pictures of people's mobile installs on our Facebook page here recently. And, that's always a challenge. When you have a vehicle and you want to put a radio in it, it can be really challenging to figure out where to put things, what radio to get, whether you need one with a remote head. Sometimes the challenge with the remote head is, okay, now where are you going to put the radio? So now you have to mount 2 devices instead of 1, and it might not be easier.
Well, then you got antenna choices and antenna placement and
antenna mounts.
The newer body styles, aluminum body can be a challenge and take away some of your options.
Plastic?
And aluminum, yeah, plastic. There's all kinds of new obstacles to deal with on these newer vehicles.
Yeah, well, I still hold to, people complain about these aluminum bodies and plastic panels on vehicles, and the mag mounts won't stick. But I say if you use the right kind of glue, they'll stick just fine.
Glue, duct tape. There's lots of options to make it work.
Yeah. So
might not have the best ground plane, but it will stick.
Well, that is an issue, but if you've got a plastic body, composite body vehicle, then ground plane's going to be an issue anyway.
Well, that's true.
So lots of things to consider, but with that, let's go ahead and jump up to the top of our list. We have Atlanta 590 Bradley in Jasper. Bradley, have you any experience with mobile installs and any advice or tips or tricks you'd like to pass along?
From my experience thus far, it's been fairly simple depending on what radio you try to go with. Some radios even actually include a tune connector, which will fit most automobiles that are North American. But I've actually done plenty of installs myself. I used to be a mechanic with Bridgestone for a while, and we would have people come in all the time and just rig it to where it would function. And a lot of the times that would either cause issues with stuff shorting out, especially RF in a vehicle. You never know exactly what's going to happen, as well as it can cause interference with some of the other things in the vehicle. But my recommendations is just take it slow. Try to do plenty of research on the vehicle specifically that you have. Some vehicles, if they make a manual version, are easier to install things in because there's a clutch hole in the firewall that is not being used for the clutch on the vehicle. Usually they'll have a bar that goes through them on the manual versions, but typically those will be empty on automatic vehicles, and they're fairly simple to modify, or stick with a standard vehicle that has a bunch of modifications like Jeeps. Ford trucks tend to have a lot as well. All in all, they can be fairly simple, but sometimes there can be one thing that just turn around. They can turn around and bite you. But that's been my experience thus far.
Oh, you already got it pushed. Well, that's usually the case. There's always at least one thing that doesn't go according to plan or catches you by surprise. So, yeah, there's some vehicles that are easier to do installs in than others. And I guess it all depends on how complex of an install you're doing, and also kind of depends on how you want to hide the wires and if you care to see wires or if that doesn't bother you. Oh boy, we got spiders in the studio again, for real this time.
Oh no. There's no flamethrowers, so I think we'll be okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I really do have one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what kind of a spider is he?
Oh. He won't give me his tag number either.
All right, well, if he doesn't have a North Georgia GMRS membership, throw him out. Okay, well, thank you for that, Bradley. And yeah, mobile installs, a lot of it does depend on the vehicle, and the vehicle owner. For instance, the Hyundai that Julie has, absolutely, positively not allowed to drill any holes. I think that was me. Okay. Not enough PSI on the PTT.
As long as it wasn't something I just did.
No, I think
it's way easier to blame you.
Yeah, blame me. So anyway, with the commandment of drill no holes and trying to chase wires, but more importantly, trying to figure out where to mount and how to mount an antenna on that particular vehicle has been a little bit of a challenge. We've got things figured out. We've got a particular radio that's got a wireless microphone speakerphone device that we think we can use with that radio effectively, but the no holes drilled commandment is going to be a challenge. So we're going to have to take a look at that. And we've had that radio since February. Going to have to do that pretty soon.
I forgot it's been that long.
Yeah,
it's all programmed, ready to go.
Yeah, I picked that radio up at Hamfest in Orlando in February.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that, Bradley. Let's go ahead. Bradley, did you have anything to add? It won't
One
make any
thing I was
difference.
going to say,
because
for
this is
those
too short.
that have the non-metallic roofs and the magnets don't work well with, and you don't stick the 3M to the clear coat because it will ruin it sometimes. Suction cups. I have found suction cup mounts that, because the whole roof of my sedan is glass, so I can't necessarily stick anything to it. I can stick a big piece of metal on the underside of it, but it would tear up the tint that I have on it. So I decided to go with the option of suction cups with a standard NMO mount.
Oh, very good. Yes, suction cups would be another nice no drill option as well. And I also know of a user that had installed radios using the through the glass antennas. He had reasonably good performance out of that, but I've always that's always been one of those things that how can that work well? But apparently they do. At least in some cases, and I know of at least one install in GMRS where it did work reasonably well.
Well, I suppose it depends on the window itself, too. I mean, some windows have privacy glass, and then, of course, rear windows have window defrosting grids in them, so I guess if you pick your poison, the application may work fairly well if you get the right piece of glass to put it on. So...
Yeah, and I can't recall just what the nature of the glass was on that particular install. And he doesn't have that car anymore, so I can't just go look at it. But yeah, some of us don't keep our cars for, a decade at a time. I don't understand it.
Well, then you got some folks who won't let you keep your car for much longer than you care to.
Right.
That wasn't my choice.
Oh, well,
All right, I think we're all set with Bradley, right? We can move along here. We got a handful of in and outs.
I think so. Let's go through our in and outs. We have Atlanta 780 Houston. In Austell is in and out. We have Gainesville 58 John in, is it John or Jonathan?
I'm pretty sure he goes by either.
Okay, well, Jonathan in Oakwood is in and out with us this evening. Have Rome 36 Jeff in Silver Creek is in and out. And Atlanta 610 David in Marietta is in and out. That'll bring us to Chris in Illinois. I don't know that Chris is going to be in with us, but let's go ahead and try. Chris in Illinois was a Zello user. Chris, are you in there? Do you have any comments about mobile radio installs or anything else?
According to the live stream feed, he was Atlanta 3-2.
I'm here. Got no comments because I'm not that tech savvy about installation wise in vehicles, so I'll leave it up to the experts.
All right, Chris. Well, it's good to hear from you again. It's been a little while, and hope things are going well for you up there in Illinois. We have another user, formerly Atlanta 442. That would be... his first name has just escaped me. I've been talking with him quite a lot. He's got a couple of radios he's going to put in a box and send this way. Oh, my golly. Craig, Atlanta 442, formerly, has moved to Illinois as well. I know that he and Chris have been in contact somewhat about GMRS radio up in that region. I don't know if you've talked to each other on the radio or just through Facebook, but good stuff. Thanks for your input there. And I do know that... Craig has found a couple of repeaters that he can access in that area, and he tells me that he's had some conversations with several people in that area. So good stuff. Thank you for that, Chris. Glad to have you along tonight. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on. We have Atlanta 214 Tyler incoming in and out. We have Atlanta 910 Jay in Calhoun in and out. Chattanooga 60 Jason in Hickson in and out. Dallas 37 David in Bowdoin Junction is in and out. Rome 58 Chad in Rome is in and out. Chattanooga 97 Aaron in Cleveland is in and out. That'll bring us to Chattanooga 160 David in Chicktown. David, tell us about your mobile install.
Well, good evening, guys. Good evening, everybody on the net. I have two radios. I have my ham radio, which does GMRS also, and then I have my Motorola. I basically found a nice little spot underneath the dash that I could drill a hole. I ran my antenna cables through there, and I ran two number 8 power cables through, and then I have mine installed in a Shield console that I was able to get through a radio friend of mine up in New Jersey who installed radios professionally. So I was able to get that stuff, put that in my truck with a relay that's connected to the ignition. So this way, one radio has ignition sense, the other one does not. And the scanner I have in there, so I was able to put them all on one, so this way it goes on and off with the ignition. Stayed away from all the computer technology stuff in the truck. Let me break. This way I didn't have to worry about interfering with anything in the truck, and done quite a few installs and done a lot at the firehouse installing radios and fire trucks and stuff, so have a lot of experience with it, and whenever I can see a recommendation or give it to somebody, I try to, or help them out. The worst thing I've ever seen is power cables and antennas run through the door, over the fender, under the lining that goes in the fender, and that door keeps crushing the cables every time they open and close it. So I try to recommend to everybody to stay away from doing that. Other than that, that's all I have. And my antennas, I have one through the roof, NMO mount, and forgot that it was on there, so I pulled in the garage and messed that up. So now I have two lip mounts on the hood of the truck. Other than that, back to you guys.
Good stuff, David. Yes, and of course, I'm sure you're well aware that that amateur radio, although it may be capable of operating in GMRS frequencies, is inappropriate to use. Only Part 90 and Part 95 radios are allowed on the North Georgia GMRS network. So certainly you have a Part 95 radio or a Part 90 radio in that truck as well, I'm sure. But in any case, yeah, that's a great suggestion. Definitely be careful how you route your wires. Through a door is fine if you're only going to be doing it that way for a weekend.
Just to get you through a long trip or something?
Right, yeah. But if you plan on operating that way for any length of time, you're going to destroy the coax, and you risk serious harm to the power conductors. And if they're not fused properly, you'll burn a vehicle down. That'll happen. We can call that one pretty safely and reliably and say you're going to destroy your vehicle if you do that for any length of time. So good call. Thank you for that advice, David. That's an excellent safety recommendation. Certainly want to be sure. And when you do install your power for your radio, we always recommend that you take both your positive and your negative all the way back to the battery. There's several reasons for this, safety being the biggest one. But take your positive and your negative power leads all the way back to the battery. You'll notice every modern radio has a black and a red lead in the package that's long enough to get through the firewall and to the battery wherever it's at. And also you'll notice any modern radio that you buy has a fuse on both the positive and the negative power lead. Why is that?
If there's any kind of short in the vehicle, we don't want our radio to become the ground for the short. So by fusing the negative side close to the radio, we can protect the radio if there's a short in the vehicle outside of our mobile install. In other words, a problem with the vehicle's wiring. But we're also going to put one near the negative terminal of the battery for the same reason. We don't want our install wires from the radio to the battery to also aid in that short having a better path to ground for that raceway or wiring, if you will.
Yeah, so any time that you are installing a radio in a vehicle, run your positive and your negative back to the battery, provide a good clean power for that radio. You don't want to tap off in the fuse box. You don't want to tap off any place along the way. You want to bring your power right straight in from the battery. Now, oftentimes there's a yellow wire in addition to the black and the red power leads. That yellow wire is typically an ignition sense wire, and so what that'll do is if you have that connected to a circuit from the fuse box, it'll tell your radio to power off and on when it sees voltage on that ignition sense. Let's break. And David had commented that one of his radios was set up that way, so that when the key comes on, the radio comes on. When you turn the key off, the radio will shut itself down. And that's a great feature to have, and definitely recommend if you have that capability on your radio. Go ahead and hook that up, because I've had to jump start my truck. I can't tell you how many times for a dead battery for a radio that's been left on. So good stuff, David. Did you have anything you'd like to add?
No, sir. That's about it. Again, check your SWRs and SWR, sorry. But I have multiple radios, so it'd be two. But some people don't see it that way. That's about it. Back to you guys.
All right, David. Sounds good. Yes, and SWR is definitely something that you want to take a look at on a new install. And one of the things that we've seen here lately is rather than taking any kind of test measurements or any kind of quality assessment of the performance of the radio, people are just throwing stuff in and then jumping on the air and asking for a radio check. Now, a radio check is not going to necessarily tell you if you have high SWR. And you can burn a radio up pretty quickly by people telling you, oh, yeah, your radio sounds great, when in fact it's working really, really hard into an unmatched load, and you can do a lot of harm to a radio by not taking the steps to test things out appropriately. And, it's unreasonable to expect everyone out there to have the kind of tools that it takes to do these checks. But there's plenty of us that do have those tools, and oftentimes all it takes is a call out for some help, either on the Facebook page or here, and you can get someone who will come on and can stop by and take a few minutes, and it really literally just takes a few minutes. It'll take longer to drive there than it will to actually take the tests. Once you know what your SWR values are, you can oftentimes tune an antenna to improve those values. But that'll give you a lot of confidence knowing that you're not going to do any harm to your radio and that you have a quality installation. So highly recommend that if you do install a radio in your vehicle, if you don't have the tools, find someone in a group. Someone is bound to allow you to either borrow or come over and take the readings for you, and help be sure that your radio is going to perform the best it can. So take advantage of the generosity of our membership if you don't have those tools yourself. All right, and with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to Atlanta 631, Shad in Emerson. Shad, it's been a while, but I'm glad to have you back. Do you have any comments for mobile installs? Atlanta 631, Shad in Emerson. Shad, do you have any comments for us tonight? All right, not hearing anything. We're going to go ahead and show him as in and out and move right along. Next we have Cates Cove 29, Carl in Knoxville is in and out. That'll bring us to Chattanooga 195, Frank in Chattanooga. Frank, do you have any comments for the net tonight? Do you have any advice for mobile installs?
My only advice would be is, at least for me, was get a professional to do it. I had a Yaesu put in a car, and I was a newbie, and the best thing I could do is I got a an old ham who did it, and he had a company for it, Tom Morgan, and I had him install it in my car. He had all the test equipment and the knowledge, and I felt real secure in that. So that's the route I took. WRYU 740, Chat 195. Back to you.
Yeah, Frank, that's good advice too, especially if you're not handy with or comfortable with the installation process. The potential exists for you to do great harm to your vehicle and to your radio by connecting it improperly. And if it's not fused properly, if it's not cables aren't run properly through the firewall, etc., you can have wires chafe, and you can create a fire situation in a vehicle, and that can be dangerous. It's not hard to do it correctly, but it's just one of those things that if you're not well versed in that, it may be better to just have someone install it for you, so that you can be comfortable in knowing that it was done properly, and that your radio has the protection of a proper install. So that's also good advice. Just have it done, and you can hardly ever go wrong if you can find a professional that can do that for you. So thank you for that, Frank. Do you have anything to add?
No, sir. This is my first day. I just got my unit call this morning from Gary, and I'm enjoying hearing you guys. I'm looking forward to have some more QSOs in the future.
Very good. Well, glad to have you aboard, and thanks for participating in tonight's net. With that, we're going to go ahead and move on. We have CW40. Robert in Nicholson is in and out, and we have Cades Cove 41. Tim in Knoxville. Tim, did you have any comments or remarks for mobile installs on tonight's net?
This is Case Code 41. I had been on the air over a month, maybe 2 months. Life's gotten in the way, and so I finally had a chance to sit back down. And I'm very interested in this topic. Break, give me a check. I would like to get a mobile unit in my car that I could transfer to my RV and then to my Jeep and then back into my home. But I've got a lot of learning to do before I move on that. But I do have a general question, or actually kind of a hypothetical question. Break. Just curious, this is Case Code 41 again, just curious, what kind of, not that I will ever have one if I can avoid it, but what kind of problems would you run into if you had an electric vehicle, all battery powered? What kind of interference could you expect from that, or any at all? I'll stop now and see if you have any comments or questions, and then I'll be clear. Thank you.
Well, that's an interesting question. Do we know of anybody in the group that has an electric vehicle with the radio installed?
The only one that I know of is Timo and his Tesla. That's the only one I know of.
Does Timo have a mobile install in the Tesla?
He may now. Last I knew, he was running NHT with one of those inline amplifiers, because I think he was having trouble getting stable voltage for an actual 50-watt radio to run off it.
Now, I understand that those vehicles do have a 12-volt car battery for the conventional automotive systems. You know, the AM/FM radio, the power windows, all the typical accessories in an electric car run off of the same voltages that a conventional car operates off of. So they do have a 12-volt system. I just don't know how much current is available in that system.
Well, the other thing I think that was coming into play was the high power batteries are charging the 12-volt battery at 12.7, 12.8, just more or less a trickle charge, which of course we know a 50-watt radio is realistically looking for ideally 13.8. So without an alternator charging the battery, I would think you're going to kind of sort of run into problems if you're trying to run that radio wide open on high power.
And that's a good point too. And it's probably not even the same type of battery, because in an electric car it doesn't have a starter to operate. So the loads are going to be very, very different. And it's probably more of a deep cycle battery than it would be a cranking high amperage battery.
Right. I mean, realistically, on an electrical vehicle, you're probably looking at radio, headlights, and a few other things, but not anything dramatic as far as a big, heavy pull on that 12-volt battery.
Yeah, so in terms of what kind of interference, an electric car is going to have a method of controlling power to the electric drive motors. And so that could be any of a number of methods. It could be a resistive type of a variable switch. It could be a pulse width modulation control device, which is probably most common. Or it could be a variable frequency drive for a three-phase type AC electric motor. Any of those could come into play, and I don't particularly know what they use in various electric cars.
Well, I mean, not even just electric cars specifically, but newer vehicles in general. You're starting to get into interference potentially with GPS systems and telemetry systems and onboard Wi-Fi modems and all these other bells and whistles that, for the most part, are coming standard on new vehicles. But when we start getting into play with two-way radios, well, we're going to be fighting each other here with the standard features on your vehicle.
Let's break.
Control, Atlanta 987 with a comment.
There's Timo now.
Go ahead and get him.
Well, Timo, we don't have you in the log, but I'm going to put you in the log and allow your comment because I think you're probably about the only one that has experience with this topic.
I'm not kidding. I just turned on the radio when my name fell and heard you guys talk about electric cars. And yes, that's in fact true. It's working though. So the setup I had in the car is started with the HT and a magnet antenna, but I also had the small, 20-watt radio, 25-watt rated radiodity radio in there. Yeah, plugged in, as you suggested, just into the cigarette lighter plug thing there, which is, I think, rated up to 10 amps. Did not have any problems with interference, did not have any of those challenges. But I also always avoided putting in wiring straight to, I don't even know, because normally you have a 12-volt battery. I don't know where that would be in the Tesla. Never investigated. The challenge I had was finding a good ground plane. With first I had the Ghost antenna, and then I switched to the UT72, which actually works exceptionally well on the lid of the trunk. So actually, while it isn't the typical car for your radio guys, it actually works pretty well, the setup I have in there. That's my 2 cents.
So, Timo, I may have missed it, but I know you were previously running an HT with an inline amp. Do you have a mobile setup in there now, or are you still running the inline amp with the HT?
That used to be my setup, but it's a lot of cable and so on. So I have a small radiolity, DB25G, I believe, the radio I have there. Very compact, small unit that I just take in and out of the car whenever I need it. So that's the current setup. But I still have that inline amp, which really did a fine job on 70 centimeters and GMRS. So it's doing a great job. 25-watt output and not burning the fuse there. Still works.
All right, Timo, well, we have you in the log. You are at number 53, so we are going to go ahead and go back to Timothy, and hopefully you answered Timothy's questions, and we'll be calling on you here soon as we progress down the log, Timo. So, Timothy, do you have any other questions? And I guess Timo kind of answered both of your questions with the unit he's running now. You might be able to take that out of your vehicle and swap it into the RV, because sounds like that's a pretty easy process for Timo. So go ahead, Timothy, in case you have any other questions.
Yes, Timothy, case code 41. Yes, my question was really just a hypothetical. I do not own an EV vehicle. I was just wondering if the electric motors that actually power the wheels causes interference. Because I know if I walk into my kitchen right now and stick my glass under to get some ice dispense from my ice dispenser, it's an electric motor, my radio goes crazy. It goes all static. So just a hypothetical question.
Probably an AC motor in the refrigerator.
Otherwise, WRWP 214, case code 41, going clear. Thank you.
All right, Timothy. Yeah, the electric motors and appliances around the house can definitely wreak havoc with your system as far as a base installation, especially I know I have trouble with my HVAC system. It's, of course, a heat pump. It does AC in the summertime and heat in the wintertime, but only gives me interference on my radio in the winter when it's in heat mode, which is interesting because it's still the same AC motor turning, but only gives me trouble in one mode of operation. So you never know what you're going to find with household appliances as far as interference. So thank you for your participation tonight, Timothy, and look forward to hearing you on the air again soon. Next, we have a few in and outs. We have Gainesville 44, Joe in Cleveland, Atlanta 259, Dana in Dahlonega, and Atlanta 236, Chuck in Dawsonville, all in and out, which brings us to Blue Ridge 549, Uncle Mike from up around Cherry Log. Uncle Mike, what do you have for us as far as mobile installs go?
Well, thank you. I've got a little bit to share with you about mobile install, but first I'd like to get to my comments. My comments involve this live stream. Wonderful, wonderful. That's nice. That's real nice. My hat's off to the program manager. Everything about it is perfect. The sound is absolutely wonderful, better than any of my radios. One thing I've noticed, let me take a quick break. The program director periodically changes one of the insert pictures from the log to the interactive map, and I'm sure you got some database people that when it's their time to speak, they can call up that person's picture from their Facebook page and protect it. Like right now, we're looking at the interactive map. When you could be looking at my wonderful picture there, I think that'd be an interesting asset. But literally, you guys have knocked it dead, every one of you. It's great to see all of you out there. Okay, enough kudos. Let me take another quick break.
If you put that on low, you can probably leave it on.
Question was mobile installs. I don't like wires in my car. I don't like things sitting on top of the dash. I don't like things hanging down under the dash. I've had a few cars with a few radios in them, and fortunately for me, they all came with double DIN radios. I took those radios out and put radios of my choice in there. If they're DIN size, you can put two good radios there, and if they're the small ones, you can put it down where the ashtray used to be. I don't want to see no wires running to it. I don't run no high-powered things because my radio's inside the dash, and circulation's poor in there. Radio Shack have the radios of your choice in your vehicles, and each vehicle that you own plays identical radios. That way you don't have to learn where the buttons are, where the knobs are. Just don't spend, well, you know how cheap I am. I don't spend a lot of money on anything except the one sitting here in front of me right now. But identical radios in each vehicle simplify the job. And with that, I will say, darn it, I missed it again. I missed Julie's washer mount out with soap comment. But this live stream is absolutely fantastic. It's going to be bad for your check-ins because we can't talk that way. But I guess when I log off here, I can go back to listening over there. Y'all doing a great job tonight, guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. And hats off to this live stream. It's a killer. Blue Ridge 180 is back to net control.
Well, that's a great idea. Pull up a collection of profile pictures off of Facebook to put up there on the image there when we could switch to for each check-in. Do you think we could train Doogie how to do that?
First we got to train him how to use a computer mouse.
Well, there is that. You got teeth marks all over the doggone thing.
I mean, he'll work for tater tots. We know that, but I don't know how well.
Yeah, we just got to get him to stop chewing on things, and but you know, there is certainly the opportunity for improvement on our production quality. So we'll have to take that into advice, and if we can get a better trained producer, then we might be able to actually do some of those things.
Better trained producer, or maybe not so overworked and underpaid.
Well, there's that too. There's that too. Yeah. So better, maybe just some better dog biscuits will do it.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So good stuff. And you know, one of the things that Mike was talking about was having a common radio for your various operations. I know that Tim was talking about taking one radio from one place or vehicle to another, and Mike's right. You know, they're going to have cords kind of available, accessible, which is going to make it hard to hide them, you know, put them out of sight. You know, even if it's something like a cigarette plug, you know, in your power plug in your vehicle, that's still a cord that's kind of laying around.
Well, and you're going to have access to the coax to unhook it every time.
And it'd be challenging, too, to have any kind of a mount for that radio where you could quickly remove it from one vehicle and then place it in another, or place it on a desk or that kind of a thing. So all of those things are kind of challenging, but I think doable if you're willing to go through the motions. But it just occurs to me that for the money that someone might spend on one of those, I don't know how to say it, the whoosh.
Be careful, you might need soap too, the rate you're going.
That's as far as I'm going to go. For the money that you would spend on that radio, for that same amount of money, you could probably buy 3 Part 90 radios off of eBay and get them programmed alike and have a radio at each operating position. One in the RV, one in your vehicle, one in your home, and have a high-quality, high-performance radio for a low-budget price, and be able to have them in all of those locations.
Well, you bring up a valid point here. You're talking about good quality used Part 90 radios. Don't we have an event that Catch Up with Kate just went over where we can get some good quality Part 90 radios?
The condiment segment?
The condiment segment, yeah, to, you know, bring flavor to the net.
That's right. I believe the condiment segment had mentioned a ham fest in Stone Mountain, or it's actually not in Stone Mountain. It's in Lawrenceville, but it is the Stone Mountain Ham Fest.
Correct.
And traditionally, that is a sort of a fundraiser for North Georgia GMRS Network. We through the year, Gary will purchase lots of radios. By lots, I mean he might buy 10 here or 20 there. Radios that have been removed from fleets, from dump trucks, from taxi cabs, from police cars or ambulances or fire trucks or what have you. As equipment gets upgraded out of these fleets, they sell off the old stuff. Sometimes they can sell it pretty cheap, and most of the time those radios are filthy, but they work. And sometimes they don't work. And in a lot of cases, you can take two radios that don't work and turn them into one that does. But, you know, a little bit of cleanup and a fresh program with the North Georgia GMRS code plug.
And a little bit of tune-up on a service monitor.
A little bit of tune-up on the service monitor, and these radios are ready for a brand new life in your hands. And so come to the Hamfest and look for North Georgia GMRS's booth. You won't be able to miss it. At the Stone Mountain Hamfest, we'll have the largest booth inside the building.
So, for clarification, we will not have radios for sale at Chattanooga Hamfest. If you're in the market for a radio, you can come see us at Chattanooga, but Stone Mountain is the place to get your radio.
Well, that's true, but if you really want a radio at Chattanooga,
we can steer you in the right direction.
Chat Radio will be there.
That's
correct?
right.
So, and that's a preferred vendor. And if you're looking for a GMRS radio, let the staff know that you're with North Georgia GMRS, and they know what kind of equipment to recommend for use on our network, and they will steer you in the right direction. So you can't go wrong with Chat Radio. All right, so good stuff, Uncle Mike. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, thank you for asking. You were bad-mouthing the producer. I was going to tell you that's thin ice you're walking on there. That was about it. Thank you for listening to me. Great show tonight, and you look fantastic on the TV. But Jim needs to wear a cowboy hat when he does this. It simplifies the lighting in the room. WRBT 591 Blue Ridge, and I got this wrong the last time. Blue Ridge 459, clear.
Well, thanks again for that, Uncle Mike. And as Kate had mentioned earlier in the program, there's no budget for makeup and hair, and that's probably okay because there's no hair for the budget.
Well, Uncle Mike also brought up a valid point about aggravating the producer. Didn't you just show me a T-shirt last night that says, "Don't aggravate the sound guy because he controls the mute button"?
Yeah, well, we've dealt with that for quite some time now, and go ahead and hit the mute, and I'll just sit back and relax.
Well, there's that too, so it's kind of a double-edged sword.
You were a little late on the mute there for Julie's tips this evening. What happened? Not enough delay?
It's live. I mean, I can edit video, but not that fast.
All right. Well, there is that. It is live. So, and the script did say stuff. I looked. It says stuff.
Yeah, there was no trickery there in the script. All right. Thank you, Uncle Mike, and hopefully we'll see you up at Chattanooga Hamfest. I know we saw you last year, so looking forward to that again. And was it the Chattanooga Hamfest with the hot dogs?
It was somewhere up in there. I think that might have been Dalton.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he brought
he was the hot dog man at Dalton.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
All right, moving along, we have another good chunk of in and outs. We have Cades Cove 80, Eric in Rockwood, Tennessee. Moreland 10, John in Grantville, Georgia. We have CW43, Chad in Bowersville. Atlanta 454, Stephen in Lilburn. Atlanta 551, Shannon in Dawsonville. Atlanta 75, Harry in Marietta. That is so tough for me because I always want to add the 0 because that's my TAC number.
Oh, yeah.
Atlanta 825, Donald in Canton. Atlanta 261, Scott in Holly Springs. And Atlanta 403, Bobby in, well, yeah, I guess he is in Cleveland. He's at the Vortex. So that is accurate. We don't have to change it tonight.
Yeah.
Then we had Atlanta 589, Don in Kennesaw. Don, what do you have for us for mobile installs? Mistakes, stories, suggestions?
He bailed.
He probably just forgot to say in and out.
Atlanta 589, Don, are you there? All right, we're going to go ahead and show Atlanta 589 Don as in and out and continue to move along. Next on the list, we have Atlanta 532 Tom in Flowery Branch, in and out. We have Atlanta 1402 eating a face pizza, in and out. And we have Atlanta 420 William in Roswell. William, do you have any comments tonight for mobile radio installs?
Hello, Justin in Net Control. I personally have 2 radios in my vehicle in a mobile platform using auxiliary jacks to take out the radios if I want to use them in a setting like for a park to do radio contact work and things like that. I would suggest people that have a radio over 30 watts to 30 to 50 watts, probably direct wire to the battery, and have its own separate wiring. And you expressed to me in the past the importance of putting maybe even redundancy fuses in there. I also do a salt pepper shaker ghost antenna on top. Let me take a break. The radio does fantastic with that small little antenna there, so I'm very happy with the results on that. With my dual radios, again, Justin, you gave great advice on not using an antenna splitter or an Atlanta or a antenna switcher to go between the two. It's better to have each radio have its own antenna mount and separated that way, so as not to cause problems there. So I did take that suggestion there, which was very important. Again, fantastic, as Uncle Mike had said about your webcasting. It's fantastic. Video quality is fantastic. Let me take a break. The latency with home internet is the slowest. Next would be internet data, cellular, and then Zello, and then, of course, direct radio for latency on that. So I would have to turn it down. I did like the interactive maps and showing where people stood in the queue there. In the comments, though, I did not see a comment next to Julie's name for the poopy mouth contribution there, so I think you should add that in. Other than that, Net Control, I think that's about it. So have a great night. Fantastic job there.
Well, thank you for all that, William. And yeah, I did ask Julie to try to keep it interesting, and, well,
she succeeded.
I'd say so. So very good stuff, and we're glad to have the opportunity for Julie's tips. And, you know, the video portion of the program is one that she's not a fan of. And she's very intimidated by being on YouTube. So I think that may have been part of the distraction for her this evening, and that came out just as I don't know. When I had written the script with "Stuff Hits the Fan," she had a difficult time making sense of what does that phrase mean. And so when I said, you know, the way that it's commonly said, it clicked in her mind, and apparently it stuck in her mind.
Instead of clicking, it stuck.
And so now she understood what the phrase meant, and
all too well.
All too well. So, well, you know, what are you going to do?
Well, she wants to keep me on my toes too when I pull out just that segment for Julie's tips in the playlist of Julie's tips, we're going to have to edit that.
I think so.
You
Yeah, I
can't
think
edit
so.
it live, but we can edit it for Julie's tips.
So when we have the static version of that, it'll be a little bit different, but be on the lookout for that to be on the web page at some point along the way.
Cleaned up a little.
Cleaned up a little bit and ready for prime time. So good stuff. And you know what a cool thing, the addition of the condiment section. That's catch up with Kate.
Yeah, catch up with
the
a
weekly
K.
announcements.
Yeah.
So that'll be good stuff, and you know, more things that are available for the program now that the writers' strike is over.
It's over?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's over. Yeah, they're making TV shows again and stuff. I know that you wouldn't notice because
I didn't know if our writer's strike was over.
I don't know. Our writers ever went on strike. They're a bunch
Oh.
of scabs.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but you know, this is a small world program, and we do small world things, and we do the best we can with what we have, and we hope that we do very well. So
Well, that, and we hope that you enjoy it, because we have fun with it, certainly, as you can hear with the poking fun at each other and giggles on our side of the microphones, but ultimately, if you guys don't enjoy it, then what are we doing it for?
dog biscuits mostly.
Did you have anything else, William?
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on then. And next on our list, we have Blue Ridge. 63, Mike from Blue Ridge. Mike, did you have any comments for the net? Anything with regard to mobile installs, or really anything else along the way?
Hey, Blue Ridge 63. This is Mike. I just finished a mobile install, a couple months ago. Got a new vehicle and went through the whole process. And I guess if I had any advice, it would be to take your time. Take your time pulling the trim back. Take your time to get it to look right. And the payoff of doing a good job is worth the time that it takes. I talked fairly extensively with Atlanta 750 as I was working on that project and learned about the importance of adding a fuse to both the power and the ground as I ran those wires from the battery. In previous many years ago, I had done some car stereo installs and used grounds in the back part of the car, and this was the first time I'd done a ground wire all the way from the battery in the front all the way to where I installed the radio in the back, under the back seat. So anyway, I felt like doing it right is always worth the time and the investment and the effort. For a long time's worth of enjoyment out of it. So those are my takeaways on my install.
Well, I think that's good advice. Take your time, and don't even start the project unless you have the time to really do it and do it well. I think that's a really good piece of advice. And if you're not comfortable with or familiar with removing trim panels and that sort of thing, find someone who is, or hire somebody who can do that kind of work. And I've pulled trim panels off of vehicles before and not been able to get them back on. And it can be frustrating. Sometimes those plastic parts are one-time use, and if you don't know where to get them, and you can get them, they're available, but if you don't know how to get them or where to get them, those panels might not fit back together well.
Well, that, and sometimes those panels are more expensive than the radio you're trying to install. If
Yeah.
if you break one and you have to get a new one.
Oh, that could very well be, yeah. And the trim bezel on my truck, there's a little plastic tab that snaps in to to the dashboard, and that tab is broken in a couple of places on that panel. So it's loose, and it'll rattle as you go down the road. It's an old truck. I'm not going to replace it. But probably if I went to a junkyard, I bet I could find that part for, I don't know, $50 or something. But, you know, for a newer vehicle, you don't want
stuff rattling around.
You don't want stuff rattling around. You don't want that kind of an install. So take your time and be careful. Watch YouTube videos and see how other people have taken, because just about anything that you're going to work on, somebody else has already done it. And they've probably taken video, and there's a pretty good chance you'll be able to see somebody else break theirs and or not break theirs and get an idea of how to do it without breaking it.
Well, that's kind of what I did with Mike. I talked Mike through his, and he sent me pictures, and then I decided to do mine.
Excellent.
Because Mike's got an F-150 just like mine, so he was my guinea pig.
Well, you know, that's fantastic. I wonder if he realized that as it was happening.
I don't know if he still realizes it. I might have just let the cat out of the bag.
All right. Well, very good stuff. And mobile installs, you know, it's not one of those things that it's just not for everybody. And then one of the things I'm really highly intimidated about tackling Julie's car, because she doesn't want any evidence that a radio has ever been installed. And that's going to be challenging to do. So, I don't know. I'm going to pull that off.
Well, have her go look at CV's truck, and maybe we can change her mind.
I think once she sees that antenna rack on top of CV's truck, she's going to say, no way, Jose.
Well, we'll put the blinders on until she gets in the truck.
Well, we might be able to do that. Yeah.
That might change her mind.
But yeah, that is a neat install, too. Are there pictures on Facebook on his install?
I don't think there is. He doesn't get on Facebook much, but I think he plans on going to Chattanooga Hamfest, so that'd be interesting if he does show up for folks to see that install. It's something.
It really, truly is. There are 3 radios, a scanner, an antenna switch, and 75 antennas. No?
8.
8 antennas. Well, there's a lot of antennas.
I mean, you can pretty much use his truck like a catalog if you wanted to. Yeah, I'll take the one in the front left.
You know, that's interesting. That's a great thought. You know, because he's got a UHF GMRS antenna. He's got a dual band antenna.
A tri-band antenna.
There's a tri-bander too. All right. So yeah, there's lots of options, and you can kind of see how the antennas look, and might even be able to operate a radio in there if you
ask him nice.
Yeah, he probably takes bribes.
Did you have anything else for us, Mike? And sorry if I let the cat out of the bag that you were my guinea pig.
No, I enjoyed it. I obviously appreciate the help, but glad I could give you kind of a look at what you were in for. Because you got your new truck and did your whole project. I think the one area where you and I went different directions on our install is where we each chose to get ignition power sense from. I went with the inverter under the back seat. If I remember right, you went with the center console cigarette lighter power source. I didn't want to pull that console out, but yeah, no, good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate it as always.
No, very good, very good. Well, thank you for that, Mike, and thanks for your comments on that F-150 install. Next, we have Atlanta 557. Ed in Kennesaw is in and out. We have Chattanooga 33. Charles in Chattanooga in and out, and that'll bring us to Blue Ridge 70. William in Cleveland is in with us this evening. William, do you have any comments for the net?
A lot of Williams this evening.
There's even a Bill. All right, we're going to go ahead and show Blue Ridge 70 William as in and out and move right along. Next we have Gainesville 417, another William in Auburn was in and out. And then we have Cades Cove 83, another William, but he's actually a Bill. Cades Cove 83, Bill in Rockwood is in and out. Cades Cove 81, Candace, also in Rockwood, is in and out. Dallas 49, Doug in Hiram is in and out. Atlanta 609, Randall in Ackworth is in and out. Gainesville 22, Neil in Sugar Hill is in and out. Dallas 20, David in Rockmart is in with us this evening. David, do you have any comments for the net?
He's on the phone with the realtor. I got him in Telegram. Skip over him.
Understand David is unavailable at the moment. Maybe he'll be able to talk with us here in just a bit. But for now, we're going to keep moving. We have Dallas 2-1. Lisa in Rockmart is in and out. And that'll bring us to Atlanta 987. Timo in Atlanta. Timo, it's great to hear from you this evening. And appreciate you chiming in with that first-hand information about the Tesla. Timo, did you have any other comments for the net?
Atlanta 987 WR9684. I don't really have anything to add. I think I shared my entire setup there earlier. I do have to agree with the comment that was made earlier that it's not very attractive to move radios in and out of the car, and I tend to agree with that. For me, it's the use case of not using the radio a lot in my car because the commute, I don't have great coverage in the Midtown area there where I commute to work. So I like the flexibility between my car and my wife's car whenever we drive up north where I'm in better reception areas to switch around. So that's why I keep it flexible. If I had CV's truck, I would probably have CV's set up with one antenna more on it. I think it looks cool and it's probably well executed there. So, but things to aspire to. Not the right point in time for me, but that's my 2 cents here. And by the way, great job on advancing the setup of Vanguard in the studio with cameras and live stream. I'd be curious to look behind the scenes at some point and see the camera gear there and geek out a little bit on that. But well done, really. I love to see the network mature and grow. Anyway, have a great evening, everybody. Lena 987.
Oh, well, thank you for that, Timo. And one opportunity to see Vanguard in action is coming up at the Chattanooga Hamfest. When is that?
Weren't you paying attention for Kate's segment?
Yeah, we might have to have Kate come in here and catch up with Kate one more time.
It's going to be October 20th and 21st, which is going to be Friday and Saturday.
So, but October 19 is Thursday. We'll be up there setting up for the Hamfest Thursday afternoon. And then Thursday evening, there's usually a thing we do on this network.
On Thursdays.
On Thursdays.
Pretty regular.
Yeah, and so we're going to do it from the Hamfest grounds, live from the venue. So if you want to see the setup in action in the field and maybe even be a part of the activities, we'll have...
yeah, we're going to set up the live stream in the forum room and welcome live audience members to participate and enjoy the show in real time, face to face.
So it'll be a great opportunity to definitely come to the Hamfest. Vanguard will be there, and we'll be able to show it off, and we'll be conducting a couple of forums at the Hamfest. Have we settled on what those forums are going to be?
I believe so. but I don't have the actual schedule or anything of that nature yet.
Okay. Well, look for that information, and if it's not up there now, it will be. Go to the w4am.net website and look for the Chattanooga Hamfest information, and a lot of the detail is there already. I don't know that they have all of the vendors listed. I don't know that they have all of the forums listed, but be on the lookout for that. There's lots of information there, and North Georgia GMRS will be there, and we look forward to seeing all of you there as well. So there'll be an opportunity to check out Vanguard. There'll be an opportunity to participate in the net live with a studio audience, and an opportunity for hands-on or hands-in or any and all of the above.
Yeah, they did not post the forum schedule yet.
Okay. So in any case, the w4am.net website, there will be some information up there at some point along the way. That would be the first place to look. There's a map that shows you how to get there with address and information. The actual Hamfest is going to be on Friday and Saturday, but Thursday evening we'll be hosting the net live from the venue. So an opportunity for members to participate in the North Georgia GMRS net. So,
which from here it looks like it's 14 days, 16 hours, and 57 minutes. And doors open officially to the public Friday at 1 p.m. and close at 7 p.m. So even if you got to work on Friday, you can come see us when you get off work on the way home. Yeah. And then Saturday is 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the amateur radio testing starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday.
And, I'm glad you brought that up because this is a great time to start testing if you have any interest in becoming a licensed amateur or upgrading your technician to a general or your general to an extra.
Or sit down and do all three.
And that's an option too. So if you have the time, and quite honestly, if you spend a half an hour a day between now and the Hamfest, there's no reason you couldn't study for and get your technician's license.
That's absolutely correct.
Or even upgrade to general. You might have to invest a little more time if you want to do extra, but I mean, it just depends on how well you can absorb the material. You could still do that in the amount of time that we have.
It's certainly doable.
Yes. So I would encourage anyone that has even a small interest in taking advantage of that. One great tool for studying for your amateur license is a free app that you can download from hamstudy.org. You can look for that in the App Store. Hamstudy.org is the one that you want. It's an app that is produced and made available for free by ICOM Radio, and it, in my opinion, is the best study aid for studying for amateur radio licenses. So, highly recommend that. There's also a book. It's called what? The Easy Way.
Yeah, pass your amateur test the easy way or something of that nature.
And there's a version for each level. And Craig Buck is the author. I'm trying to think of, I can't remember his call sign, but look for that book. You can get that book on Amazon. It's a great study guide. It helps you to focus on the correct answer when you're taking the test, and it does not put any emphasis on the incorrect answers, but lots of emphasis on the correct answer to help you learn what you need to learn so that you can achieve the license. And that's the goal here. The real education starts once you have your license and begin using the radio and learning all that you can do with an amateur radio. Highly encouraged. We're going to break. All right, well, that is the end of our roster at this time. So this is the time of the evening. We're going to go ahead and take additional check-ins, and we're going to open the floor for any questions or comments. Net Control, standing by.
Guys, go by 0 with a comment.
There was 2 in there.
This is?
That's the second one.
WRPM 847, Chattanooga 162, check me in, and I'll be listening to the rest of the net. Thank you.
162, is that Larry?
I believe so.
This is
That sounds like Charlie Victor 2 times.
Gainesville 285, WRKN 234, and I think Cage Cove 80 was trying to get in there before me.
This is Gainesville 76, WRUH 751, and out.
Just leave Cades Cove right there. We'll figure it out. Or move it.
Atlanta 965, correction, Atlanta 964, WRMA 965, Richard and Duluth, in and out.
This is WRWA 386, Atlanta 214. I'll be in. Gentlemen, again, sorry about the Zello incident.
Oh, the pocket Zello.
This is Atlanta 60, WQYU 407. Guys, I'll check in and check out. Doing an awesome job tonight. Thank you.
All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge what we have. We have a comment from Cades Cove 80, so stand by with that. Rocky will come to you here in just a moment. Also, we have a check-in from Chattanooga 162. Larry in Chattanooga is in tonight. Also, Gainesville 285. CV in Murrayville also in tonight. We have Gainesville 76. John in Gainesville is in and out. We have Atlanta 964. I want to say that differently. Atlanta 964, Richard in Duluth is in and out. And we have Atlanta 214, Tyler incoming is in with us tonight. As well as Atlanta 60, Gary in Noonan is in and out. Those are the check-ins that we have at this time. I'm going to take one more pause for any additional check-ins or comments. Net control standing by.
Somebody in and out. That's all I heard.
This is
on flagship.
WRKK 629, Chattanooga 84, checking in. This is Atlanta 100, WRW 267. Somebody checking in out tonight.
We're going to have Jim tell us about lunch, too.
Oh, yeah. All right, let me go ahead and acknowledge those last couple that we got there. We picked up Chattanooga 84 Jim in Hickson in with us this evening. And Atlanta 100 Connor in Canton is in and out. Those are the check-ins we have at this time. Let's go ahead and get that comment from Eric, Cades Cove 80. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate that. And y'all doing an awesome job on the YouTube. I watched it there for a few minutes. My comment is,
I just done a reinstall on one of my mobiles, and I experienced, the reason I had to do the reinstall was the factory wiring harness was not quite long enough to where I wanted to, how I wanted to run my wire and where I wanted to place the radio. So the obvious is to add more wire. Well, I added wire that was a little bit smaller gauge than what the original wiring harness was. When I checked everything out, my SWR was pretty high. So we done another, I done another wiring with I had to go get some more wire of the same gauge as the wiring harness. And it brought my SWR right back down to where it originally was. So I highly recommend that if you do have to add wire because your wiring harness isn't quite long enough, to use the same gauge as the wiring harness. And other than that, that's the only comment I had, and to see if you guys think, that was recommended. And I'll turn it over to you, net control.
Did he mean coax?
Not sure. Well, that's an interesting point, and the factory wiring harness in a car is oftentimes the last place you want to tie into for a mobile radio install, for a couple of reasons. Oftentimes there's not enough current available in that harness for your two-way radio. If you have a 20-watt radio, maybe you'd be okay with that. But really, if you're running a 30, 40, 50-watt radio, you want to go direct to the battery. And your comment about using at least whatever gauge is in a factory wiring harness from the radio, and maybe that's what he meant as that wiring harness. I may have misunderstood, and that could very well be. So if that's the whatever gauge that wiring harness is, you should consider your minimum wire gauge. So if that wire is made with 12 gauge wire and you're going to add any length to that, you probably should add 10 gauge wire for your extra length, because there's a certain amount of voltage drop that's going to occur in any length of wire. And that voltage drop is critical because we're already at a pretty low voltage at 13.5-ish volts, give or take, depending on the vehicle. It's going to change some. But if you're losing a volt, or even if it's just a half a volt in that length of wire, and then you add some more length to that, you can get into a situation where you've lost a considerable amount of voltage. And because your voltage is lower, when you operate that radio, it's going to draw more current through those conductors. And as a result, if the radio is not able to get the amount of power that it wants because of the resistance in that wiring harness, you can damage your radio. You can make your radio work harder. You can make your radio get hotter. All of those things kind of come into play.
Or the other thing you can do is the radio just won't transmit. It'll complain about voltage and it's not going to do anything.
That's right. And the radio may protect itself if it can't draw the amount of current that it wants. Sometimes what will happen is, and we see this all the time on a railroad with radios, it's the most common failure mode that we see. The voltage looks great. You connect everything up, you take a few readings, voltage is right where you want it to be, 13.4 volts. It's magical, it's perfect. Happy with the install, let's go. But what is the voltage when you key the microphone? When you ask that radio to put power out, that voltage may change.
Loaded voltage.
And oftentimes what we see on a railroad is if that voltage falls below 12.4 volts, then the radio still operates, but in railroad applications, that's digital data over an audio carrier. And if that signal is distorted because the transmitter doesn't have enough voltage, then that digital data becomes digital garbage. Let's break. And so the same thing can be true with our radios, where if they don't have enough voltage to operate effectively, it's going to have an impact on the quality of your signal. So Eric, you've come a long way in your radio knowledge and experience. It seems like not that long ago, you were asking some very, very elementary questions, and you've advanced rapidly to the place where you're learning lessons and gaining knowledge that experienced radio operators come to. So hats off to you for the ground that you've gained in your radio experience and knowledge in just a short time.
Well, I mean, there's other things to consider too with the voltage drop conversation, kind of circling back on that, is a lot of the newer vehicles have smart charging systems. So if you're sitting at a traffic light, stop sign, that kind of thing, your battery voltage is going to go down to about 12.7, and the alternator is going to be pretty much quote-unquote idling.
Well, sometimes those cars shut off.
Right. So if you're using moderate or barely getting by gauge size of wire, if you try to key up the radio under that condition, your voltage drop is now going to be below 12.4 or less potentially, and the radio is going to start complaining for sure. And I kind of figured that out the hard way with my F-150 in the older truck that I had, and made up for that in the newer truck and used 8-gauge wire to ensure I didn't have a voltage drop to my radio. And it wasn't necessarily that I had undersized the wire, it was the voltage drop when the alternator backed off that the radio would complain and not transmit.
Yeah, so and that is an interesting point, because a lot of these modern vehicles are also using different battery chemistries. And, you know, the different battery chemistries will charge differently than our old school lead acid batteries. So those batteries would typically charge at 13.8 to 14.5 volts. Anywhere in there is what you would see coming off of the alternator, depending on the vehicle and a number of other things, such as whether or not the headlights are on, whether or not the heater fan is running, you know, things of that nature. All of those things would have a bearing on the output voltage from your alternator. In today's vehicles with varying battery chemistries, those voltages are regulated more precisely and oftentimes at a lower voltage, because 14.5 volts will cook some of these batteries.
Yeah, AGM batteries are not going to like 14.5 like the old lead acid used to crave.
Right. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that that change in modern vehicles, and it doesn't make the installation easier, that's for sure. All right, thank you for that comment, Eric. I appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and move on to Atlanta 162, Larry in Chattanooga. Larry, did you have any comments for mobile radio installs?
I just realized I put...
Well, other than just to say it's kind of like trying to put a jigsaw puzzle together. Take a look at it real close and really make sure you know what you're going to do before you do it, or you might wind up breaking something or drilling holes where they don't need to be drilled.
Well, that's a fact, and you know, if you're anything like me, you probably get all of your jigsaw puzzles from the thrift store, and invariably they're missing a few pieces. So there's always that challenge as well. And then the other challenge is there's oftentimes little to no instruction in terms of how to do an install. So you kind of sort of have to make things up as you go, and that's oftentimes going to lead you into trouble. If you can find information about the install, and there's a lot of vehicles that get covered on YouTube. If you just search YouTube for your vehicle and two-way radio install, you're probably going to find something, and it might even be good information. But you can at least watch the video and see some of the mistakes that were made. Oftentimes I watch these videos, and I'll try to watch several different videos. I believe that was me. I'll try to watch several different videos to try to get a sense of the way, you know, to see if you just watch one person do it, You just get one perspective and one idea as to how things are done. Whereas if you can see it done 2 or 3 different ways, you can really get a broader idea of what those experiences might be. And there could be better options and ideas available than just that first one that you saw.
Well, sometimes you find a better option or idea once you're already involved in the project, you know.
Make it up as you go.
Larry came up with a good suggestion of planning out your work before you start it, but sometimes you can fully intend on executing that plan and go, well, wait a minute, this is a much better idea. Now that you got some panels and things off and out of the way, you can see literally what you're in for, and sometimes come up with a much better idea than the plan you originally started to execute.
Yeah, and just routing wires through the body can be particularly challenging. And when you look for places to get through a firewall, older vehicles don't have the pass-throughs that a lot of the newer vehicles have. Plugs already in holes where you can just use an existing penetration and then seal up that grommet after you make holes in the grommet. But older vehicles, you might not be able to find those passages as easily.
Did you have anything else, Larry?
I believe that's it. I just appreciate y'all doing what you do. You do it well. These Chattanooga 162 will be clear.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Larry. Next, we're going to go to Gainesville 285. Charlie Victor 2 times in Murrayville. CV, do you have any comments with regard to mobile radio installs? Do you know anything about that?
Well, that's funny. But before I get to the mobile install, I'll just add a little aside. A couple of things. We weren't able to check in a normal fashion tonight because we've been moving tower sections from one location to another. It took several hours. And another aside, during your transmissions, Jeff and Justin, 3 or 4 minutes ago, I'm receiving legitimate public safety traffic over this frequency. Never heard it before, but very loud and clear and legitimate, but we'll get to that later. As far as mobile installs go, let me break.
That's interesting.
Is he on flagship?
Last week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jeff, Atlanta 750, and I spent all day long, every day, together doing a mobile install on my Chevrolet 3500 pickup. I think Jeff might say this would be the most complicated install you could do. But I won't get into the details. He can share whatever he wants to, but let me break. Jeff did an excellent job. Very, very good job. Very knowledgeable, and a lot involved in this particular install. My truck was down for 3 days, inoperable, which is fine. That's what had to happen for this to occur. But Jeff, I've made a few aesthetic changes. Nothing substantial as far as your install, but just making things look pretty. And I'll take photos. Let me break. Jeff, I'll clear those photos through you before any publishing is done on your part. I don't publish on Facebook.
I knew that.
And certainly before the vehicle is made available for inspection, possibly at the Chattanooga Ham Fest, if you decide you want to make it available for inspection. So anyway, those are my comments. Y'all have done a very good job tonight. Great subject. Gainesville 285, WRKN 234. I'll be clear.
Well, and there's something to be said about that too, and I'm not just saying this because it was me, but you know, CV and myself had some great fellowship doing that install, and that was not a project that CV was willing to tackle, but if you have somebody in your area that's willing to help you, I mean, you can kind of make a day out of it, so to speak, and have some fun and have a meal together, have some lunch, whatever, and as much as a 3-day install is kind of overly complicated, so to speak, versus what most people would want, we did have a lot of fun doing it and a lot of laughs in the meantime. So there's something to be said about that too. If you personally can't do it, then see if somebody can get you some help and have a few laughs and have a time out of it.
Yeah, come over and hang out together. And I mean, we accomplish a lot of things that way. Projects here, personal projects for the property, as well as GMRS-related projects. And we enjoy spending time together. We enjoy spending time with each other. And sometimes it's just a matter of hanging out and having a meal or a birthday party or things of that nature. But you know, it's a relationship that kind of developed over this crazy radio thing that we do. And there's all kinds of opportunities out there for members to get together and help one another, and gain lifelong friends in the process. And I have so many friends that I've acquired through North Georgia GMRS, and you know, high quality individuals that I know that I could lean on and ask of, and without question would be able to get the help that I need when I need it. So that's powerful stuff, and this is a huge resource that we all have available. We just need to ask.
Well, we broke 900 members this week, and that's just memberships, not counting, you know, individual TAC numbers.
Family, yeah.
Right. So regardless of what region you're in, whether it be the Chattanooga region, the Atlanta region, Blue Ridge, I'm sure there's somebody in our membership that you can reach out to and lean on and bare minimum ask advice. Hey, I'm thinking about installing this radio in this vehicle. What do you think? Do you have any experience? Do you know anybody who has experience?
Is there a shop that you can recommend?
Exactly.
Sometimes that's hard to find too.
So there's a lot to be said about the strength in numbers, so to speak, that North Georgia GMRS has, because there's probably very few questions radio related that somebody in this network has not run into.
That's right. That's right. And you know, there's members that have experienced a wide range of radio brands and models and mobile radios and HTs, and I mean, you just there's quite a lot of different pieces of equipment out there and in service, and chances are pretty good that whatever you've acquired, somebody else has one and can tell you how to program it or can tell you how to install it. Or
yeah, and I mean, with that being said, if questions are asked on Facebook or whatever, patience is key. We all have lives. We all have things that need to get done. So the person that you're seeking that may have the knowledge you need may not be available till tomorrow or the next day because of work or whatever life got in the way. So throw your question up on Facebook, but don't get frustrated if somebody doesn't answer you in 10 minutes, because the person that you really want to talk to get the right answers to that question may not see the post till the day after, or etc.
That's right. All right. Well, CV, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No net control, nothing to ask. I'll just reiterate that Jeff did an excellent job, and to the point that you get into an install and find something that may need to be done differently than what you thought your first plan was, then you go to plan B, and that works out. So I'll just have to say hats off to Jeff for being willing to drive an hour and a half from Waleski to Murrayville.
High atop Mount Waleski.
One way, 3 days in a row to do my install. Not that he's going to do that for nothing. I'm not trying to advertise Jeff does that for nothing by any stretch of the imagination. But, you know, not everybody's install is this complicated, and not everybody's install takes that long. But anyway, hats off to him, and the shop came to me. Gainesville 285, WRKN 234. I'm very appreciative, and I'll be clear.
All right, CV. Well, it's great to hear from you this evening. And did you have any other check-ins that you wanted to relay in?
Sure. Two, actually, by way of relay, Gainesville 286, Lynn, WRKN 234 in Murrayville, Georgia. She's already in bed. And Gainesville 287, Trey, also in Murrayville, Georgia. And he's tied up with some sort of detail, I understand, at the present time, and asked me to check him in. I actually forgot that. Thank you very much, Justin. Gainesville 285, WRKN 234, clear.
Well, I know it's very unusual for you to check in and not check in Miss Lynn, and but I think that you might have been distracted because you wanted to be sure that we had gotten Cades Cove 80 in there. So we did hear that comment in there, but I appreciate you reminding us. All right, Charlie Victor 2 times. So Jeff, tell me, what does an install like that cost in dog biscuits?
Well, there was a lot of coffee involved, I'll say that much, with
Yeah.
an hour-and-a-half commute each way, plus, I don't know, I think we were at it 10 hours a day for 3 days in a row, so there was certainly a lot of coffee involved there.
Well, that's a big project. I saw some of the pictures, and it's a much bigger task than I would have considered, and a lot more effort, I think, doing that install than when I installed the radio in my F-150. You know, that was a relatively short power lead through the firewall, through a grommet that I found. That was easy. And, you know, I think the most difficult part of that install was feeding the coax through the back of the cab and underneath the rocker molding, what is that called? The molding at the bottom of the door.
Yeah, the rocker, you had it right.
Yeah, so getting through that, there actually was a grommet in the bottom of that I was able to come out through, and with the coax on both sides, and so that was the most difficult part, because in order to make that happen, I had to cut the connector off and put a new connector on, and sometimes that can be challenging to put the connectors on the coax, especially that little bitty stuff. But it went well, and very pleased with the outcome. So, all right, well then let's go ahead and move on. Who do we have next? We have Gainesville 76 John in Gainesville is in and out. Also, we have Atlanta 964 Richard in Duluth is in and out. We have Atlanta 214 Tyler incoming. Tyler, glad to have you along tonight. To understand a little hiccup with Zello. Tyler, do you have any experience with mobile installs?
Good evening, guys. It's Atlanta 214, Tyler. Before I get started, you guys are doing an amazing job. I got to catch a bit of the YouTube there earlier. Yes, sorry about the Zello earlier as well. Let me break. The fair is here and coming for the next 10 days, and I'm helping park cars on some property there behind the fairground. So if any of you guys decide you want to take some youngins or yourselves to the fair, swing by. I'll be there all week. And had the phone in my back pocket and had it lit up while I was also using my radio to communicate back and forth with some other guys on the property. do have a bit of experience. I've done 4 installs of the GMRS radios now in vehicles.
That's
very
weird.
basic
His audio
installs for
faded
single
way
radios.
out.
I've done a few CDs, but I'm
Watch your mic placement
big into
too,
the
by the
car
way.
audio and all that good stuff.
When you
so
look,
I have done a bit of
the audio
audio
goes
install
down.
as well, and I'm very meticulous when it comes to hiding wires and making it look like it was original to the vehicle.
Hey, Tyler, I'm not sure what's happening, but your audio has dropped way, way, way down, and it's almost impossible to hear.
Still a good carrier and good signal, but volume-wise, we just can't hear him anymore.
It's almost like he dropped the HT away from his face, or the microphone moved away, but we could just barely hear parts of that. So tell us about your mobile installs again.
So I have done a few installs. I've done about 4 GMRS installs now in vehicles, very basic, but I am pretty meticulous when it comes to hiding things and making them look as stock, I guess you could say, as possible. So very, very good turnout. So I have some pictures. I should post them on the Facebook page.
Very good. Well, looking forward to seeing some of those pictures on Facebook, and yeah, that's nice when you can do an install and do it well, and have the wires hidden. If you look at the install I did on my truck, there's wires all over my dash, but that's okay. It's an old truck, and I don't mind.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, that's the biggest thing. If you
Yeah.
do mind, then you do something about it.
So yeah, and I could take that all apart and shove all those wires underneath. There's a mess underneath that dash, but there's room for it, so that's nice. On these newer vehicles, I don't think you have that kind of space in there.
Well, yeah, because they're putting airbags everywhere. They have 2 inches of space now to keep occupants safe, which is a good thing, but for adding stuff, it makes it a little more challenging.
Oh yeah, even for just getting access to the dash and having to work around that stuff that's in there.
Right.
So these newer vehicles are definitely going to bring a challenge. Tyler, take a look at that radio and see if you can figure out why your audio went way down. You started off sounding great, but even that second time around, your audio had dropped way off. We were able to hear you, but it had dropped way off.
It's
so
extremely low, and great signal into the repeater. Not a signal issue; it's an audio volume issue. So
might just be microphone placement. So take a look and consider that. Next on our list, we have Atlanta 6-0. Gary in Noonan is in and out. That'll bring us to Chattanooga 8-4. Jim in Hickson. Jim, do you have any experience with mobile installs?
Well, hello, guys. Thank you for doing Wonderful Net. I have a little bit of experience. My son says everything I do is janky, but it works. I've been a big fan of Lido mounts, L-I-D-O mounts, especially the cup holder mounts for different radios, radio heads, and HTs. Just wish they'd make one that had a cup holder like off to the side of it, so still didn't have to give up my cup holder, you know. And going through the firewall is always a joy to get to the battery, which I highly recommend. You know, putting a breaker on it. I'll use one of those more flat plastic breakers that are like $25, different amperage. You know, you just reset them. I put that on the positive lead to protect the car and the equipment. And I've got mag mount, and I've also got lip mount NMO on the car. So, and getting the coax ran, you know, from the trunk to the radio is always the fun part. All right, I guess that's all I've got to say about it. Back to you.
All right. Well, good stuff, Jim. And yeah, I don't know. Your son probably wouldn't appreciate the install of my truck either. But Jeff's radio install looks a little bit different.
Well, wait a minute. Before Jim runs off, he's going to tell us about lunch.
Well, yeah. We're going to be having lunch at Champy's. When is that, Jim? Jeff? Jim?
The 19th at 12 o'clock, Champies, at high noon at Champies on Ringo Road. And be there or be square.
That's fantastic. That's right off the exit, if I recall, just west of 75. Exit 1?
I think it's Ringgold Road. So I think it might be exit 1. And then once we get through with lunch, it's about 2 or 3 miles up the road, and then you can come help us unpack all our gear.
There you go.
Work off all those calories.
That's right. So you can have a big old lunch, and it'll be okay.
I'd be happy to help. I have to take Charles back home, but after I get him back home, he just lives not too far away from there. I will head over there and help as I am able to, because I was at the Ham Club meeting tonight, and they were asking for help setting up their venue as well. So we need a lot of help at the Hamfest to get things set up, and it's always hard to find people to do it, but this is my challenge to everybody else. I mean, if I can do it at my age and my crippledness, y'all can come help too. All right, that's all I got.
All right. Yeah, and there'll be plenty to do, and if you are interested in volunteering for setup tasks and things of that nature, reach out on the W4AM website and use their contact forms and let them know that you're interested, and they'll reach out to you with scheduling and other information. So.
And then if you are going to attend and help set up, whether it's the Chattanooga Amateur Radio Club or our club, then you can stick around and we'll have some fun for the net once it becomes time.
That's right. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that event, and we're looking forward to live studio audience at the Chattanooga Ham Club for Thursday night's net. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Well, it's actually at the Eastridge Community Center, just so people don't get confused. It's not actually at their club.
Oh yeah, I don't even know where their clubhouse is, so I would have to. Yeah, at the Eastridge Community Center.
Correct.
So, all right. All right, well, thank you for that, Jim. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on. We have Atlanta 100 Connor in Canton, Georgia, is in and out. We have Gainesville 286 Lynn in Murrayville. She's already gone to bed. She's in and out. And Gainesville 287 Trey is in the midst of some
moving project.
Task. Yeah. So Trey's busy, but he's in and out tonight. So that is the end of our roster, and that's going to be the end of our program. So I want to thank everybody for participating in the net tonight. This is going to conclude the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. We have a total of 63 check-ins this evening, including myself and Jeff.
And Julie and Kate.
And, the catch-up with Kate, the condiment section of the net. Thank you for allowing us to serve as your net control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946, WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
And Atlanta 750, WRMR 367. My name is Jeff.
We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
And we are clear. Good night, everybody.
Good night.